Welcome back. This video is continuation of the previous video. So in the previous video we have discussed about stack allocation of space. Basically we know stack allocation is based on the idea of control stack, and here the storage is organized as stack and we have activation record. So whenever the procedure begins its execution, the activation records are pushed into the stack, and whenever the execution ends, then this activation record is popped out from the stack. So this activation record actually contains the locals in each call of a procedure, and that will be stored into the stack. So whenever the activation ends, whenever the activation of the procedure ends, then the local values are deleted. So we can say that the values are lost here because the storage for locals disappear whenever the activation record is popped out from the stack. So we first describe the form of stack allocation, and here the sizes of all the activation records that is known at the compile time. So this is the stack which contains a register called the top. So this top is used to indicate the top of the stack, and whenever the activation record is pushed into the stack, the value of top gets incremented, and whenever the activation ends, then the activation record will be popped out from the stack. So when we are popping out the activation record from the stack, then the top value will get decremented. So this incrementing and decrementing of this top value is actually based on the size of the record that we are going to use here. For example, if there is a procedure called queue, and this procedure has an activation record, and that activation record is of size A, then we need to increment this top value by A, that is top plus A. So this is for including, that is pushing the activation record of Q into the stack, and this activation record is pushed into the stack just before the execution of this procedure Q. And when this procedure gets end, then we have to decrement this top with the size of the activation record, that is minus A. So here we need to decrement this top value with A. So this is what we have seen in the stack allocation of space. Now we'll take one example and we see the downward growing stack allocation of activation records. So this is the example. If you look at this example, here we have activation tree at the left hand side. So we know what is an activation tree, right? So this is the activation tree, and in the right hand side we can see the activation records on the stack. So how the activation record is going to stored on the stack. So initially we have S, which is a procedure here. Here S is a procedure. We can also say the procedure as function, right? So here S is a procedure, and this is the starting procedure here. So this is where the execution is beginning with the activation of this procedure S. So what is happening here? A frame is created for S, and this procedure contains some array. So we are having an activation record that contains the procedure and the array that is present inside this procedure. And coming to the next step, so here we have another procedure, we have another procedure called inside this procedure S. So what happens now? The control flows from this S procedure to R procedure. So now we need to create an activation record for this one. So that is inside the stack. If you look at here, we have created an activation record for this procedure R, and this activation record is stored inside this stack. So which is R here, and this procedure contains some integer values with it. Now this is the next step we have. So if you look at this tree, here we have two types of edges. So one is a dashed line, or we can say dotted line, and the next one is solid line. So here this dotted line represents that the procedure is executed, and then the flow comes back, that is the control is back to the procedure S. And this solid line represents that now the procedure Q is actually in execution. So presently the procedure S and Q is in activation now. So this solid line indicates the activation of this procedure. And here when you look at the stack, okay, here we have the activation record of ES with array, and the next is we are having the activation record of this queue. Why? Because this queue, the procedure queue, is in execution now, so the activation record is presently stored inside the stack. That also contains some of the integers. So and if you look at R, the procedure R is popped out from the activation record. Why? Because this actually ends its execution, so which is popped out from this activation record, that is which is popped out from this stack. Then coming to the next tree, okay, so in the next step you can see here this procedure R is already terminated, and this queue is also already terminated, and this queue is also already terminated. Now we have the procedure S, which is active, and the queue of 1,9 which is inactive, and queue of 1,3 is inactive. So these three procedures are in active state now. So this stack is presently containing the procedure S, then queue of 1,9 and then queue of 1,3. So the activation records of these procedures are stored inside the stack. So this is how the stack is growing downwards. So you can see here, whenever a new activation record is added into the stack is getting, that is, the stack is growing downwards. So this is the stack allocation of activation records. Now we'll see about the calling sequence. So we know the procedure calls, and here the procedure calls are implemented by generating this calling sequences. So we are generating the calling sequences to implement this procedure call in the target code. So here we have two concepts. One is call sequence and the next one is return sequence. So here this call sequence is used to allocate the activation record and enters the information into the activation record. And coming to return sequence, so this return sequence actually restores the state of the machine so that the calling procedure can continue its execution. So we know what is a calling procedure and what is a called procedure, right? So whenever we have a function call, then we can say that function call is a calling procedure, and the definition of that function call is actually said to be the a called procedure. So once the called procedure completes its execution, so the control should come back to the calling procedure, right? So that the calling procedure can continue its execution. So for that purpose, we have a return sequence, and this return sequence actually restores the state of the machine in order to proceed the calling procedure for continuing its execution. So this picture actually shows the division of task happening between caller and callee. So here caller is the calling procedure. We can say caller as calling procedure, and callee is nothing but the called procedure. So here these are all the tasks that is happening between the caller and the callee. So if you look at this activation record, okay, this is the activation record, and basically we know the activation record, some data is inside it, like it contains temporaries, then it contains local data, then it have access link, control link, then it have some machine saved status, then it contains actual parameters and returned values. So these are all the data that is present inside the activation record. And if you look at here, we have two activation records, and this is the activation record for caller, okay, that is calling procedure, and this is the activation record for calling, so which is nothing but the called procedure. So here we are using the top SP, so this is nothing but the pointer, okay, top is the pointer that is pointing to the top of the stack, and here SP represents the stack pointer, so top stack pointer, and this is used to indicate the top of the stack. And you can see the control links here, okay, so here the control link is present in callee's activation record as well as in the caller's activation record. So whenever a procedure is called, okay, whenever a procedure is called, then the callee will get executed, right? So now the calling procedure is in activation. So when the calling procedure is in activation, then the control link should be that is the control link of this callee should be linked to the control link of this caller's activation record. And if you look at this control link of activation, caller's activation record, again this control link will be linked to the other caller's record, which is actually calling this procedure. So likewise, it is the control link will goes on. Okay. So here we have some of the responsibilities of caller as well as callee. That is, whenever a procedure is in execution, so the callers have some responsibility to do and the callees have some responsibilities to do. We'll see what are all the responsibilities. So here this is actually categorized into two types. One is call sequence and the second one is return sequence. So whenever the call sequence is executed, then what the caller will do is the caller will first evaluate the actuals. Why? Because the caller function have the actual parameter, right? So that actual parameter will be passed, the value of that actual parameters will be passed to the value of calling function. So here what is happening, is passed to the called function, right? The actual parameters will be passed to the called function. So first the caller should evaluate this actual parameter. After this, what the caller should do is it stores the return address and the old value of top pointer into the callee's activation record. Why? Because so before executing this, okay, before calling this procedure, okay, so that will actually points here, right? Why? Because before this procedure is getting executed, the activation record that the stack contains is the activation record of this caller's procedure. So here the top will be pointing at this position, and after the call only, now the stack will get incremented and the new activation record will be stored into the tag and into the stack, and the top will get incremented here. So once this is completed, once this activation gets in, again the control should go back to the caller, right? So for that purpose, the caller stores the return address. So it will store the return address as well as the old value of this top SP into callee's activation record. So that will be stored inside the callee's activation record. Why? Because after completing the execution, now the control should go back to the caller's activation record. So that's why it is happening here. And then this callee, what it will do is it saves the register values and other status information here. So after that, the callee initializes its local data and it starts executing. Okay, that is, it begins its execution. So this is what the tasks happening when we have a call sequence. Then coming to return sequence. So when there is a return sequence, here we have three steps that is involved in the return sequence. Initially, the callee places the return value next to the activation record of the caller. So already the callee has the return value. So now this return value is placed next to the activation record of this caller. So that is the first step that is happening in the return sequence. And the second step is using the information in the status field. So here this callee restores the top pointer, okay, and it then branches to the return address in the caller's code. So after that, after executing, and this will get terminated, the callee will get terminated. So when it is terminated, so what happens? The top will get decremented, right? So here the top pointer gets decremented, and then the caller copies the returned value into its own activation record. Then it uses this to evaluate the expression. So these are all the steps involved in the return sequence. So the next is variable length data. So how the stack can hold the variable length data, or how it deals with this variable length data. So here we can take the example array as variable length data. Why? Because we cannot assure that the elements that is present in the array, so that may the number of elements in the array may vary during execution, right? So here the array is taken as the example for variable length data. So let us consider that we have a procedure, okay, and that procedure is actually P, and this procedure have some arrays, that is 3 arrays are there, A, B and C. So it has 3 local arrays, and when we have the local arrays inside the procedure, so these arrays will not get stored into the activation record, or we can say the storage for these arrays A, B and C is not a part of the activation record. So this activation record can hold only the address, that is a relative address of these A, B and C array pointers. Okay, so only this has the relative address of these pointers, and that can be known at the compile time. So here the target code can access the array elements through this pointers, that is pointed to A, pointed to B and pointed to C. So which means here the elements of array cannot be stored inside the activation record. So instead of that, the pointer that is pointing to the array, okay, the first element of the array will be held inside this activation record. So whenever this procedure wants to access the elements of these arrays, then they can access it with the help of this pointer. So now this is the activation record for P. So this procedure P is actually calling a procedure Q. Okay, so that is, we have another procedure Q, and that procedure Q is called by the procedure P. So now when the procedure Q is called, the activation record is generated for this procedure Q, and that activation record will be stored inside the stack. So when you look at this, actually here the activation record for Q begins only after the arrays of P. So here are the arrays of P, and after this arrays only, here the activation record of Q begins. And here the array variable length arrays of Q will be there after this activation record of Q. So here after this record, here will be the arrays of Q. And if you see here, so here we are using 2 pointers, that is one is top SP and the next one is top. So here this top actually marks the actual top of the stack. So this is the actual top of the stack, and it points to the position at which the next activation record will begin. So whenever the next activation record is beginning, so at that position this top will be marked. And the second top SP, that is top stack pointer, so it is used to find the local data that is present inside the activation record. So these are all the process that involves in the stack allocation of space.